Have you ever come across a beautiful napkin and realized that you only had one? Well, today I'm going to show you how I used one napkin for two DIYs. Hi my friends, this is Christine. Welcome back to the channel if you're returning, and if you are new, welcome to you as well. I have some beautiful napkin decoupage DIYs for you today, so let's get crafting. So this is a Martha Stewart frame that I got from Plaid. I got a few earlier this year, and this is my last one. And this is a napkin that I got from my friend Mary over at Craft Away with Me. And this is a napkin that I only have one of. So look to see how I am going to use this to turn it into two beautiful DIYs. So I grabbed my white chalk paint in Adirondack and I'm painting the frame. I'm giving it two good coats of the chalk paint. And once that was done, dried and everything, now I'm going to use my Mod Podge Multi, and that is what we're going to use to apply our napkin. So I just poured a little out, and I'm going to remove the back ply from the napkin. I just grabbed two small pieces of painter's tape. It can be any tape, it doesn't matter what tape. So you're using the tape just to help you to pull them apart. And once I pull that apart, I'm laying it down on my frame just to give me an idea, because remember, this is the only napkin I have and I want to use it wisely. So I grabbed it, laid it down, and then once I was satisfied, then I took a small brush, Mod Podge brush, and I'm using that to apply the Mod Podge. And then once I got that done, I use a piece of shrink wrap, and this helps to smooth the napkin down, and I'm working in sections, as you notice. So once that side was done, I did the other side, smooth it down again with the shrink wrap, and then I went over it now with the parchment paper and the heat press. Then I took my emery board and carefully filed off the excess in a downward motion. Keep in mind that I did say I only have one napkin, so I can't afford to waste anything. So once I filed that off, I set that aside, and then I took the scissors and carefully just cut the inside of the frame, and we are going to set that piece aside as well because we're going to need that. And then I just use the Mod Podge brush, still with a little of the Mod Podge in it, to just seal the inside. Fold the napkin on the inside and seal that down. Now at this point you want to add a second layer of Mod Podge, but before I did that, I went over it with the parchment paper and the heat press, and then I added the last layer of the Mod Podge and again sealed that. Friends, thank you so much for clicking on that thumbnail and coming in to watch this video. I do appreciate you stopping by. If this is your first time here, raise your hand in the comment section so I can give you a warm welcome, and thank you so much for coming. And to point out here, after you apply your second coat of Mod Podge, you want to use your heat gun, and here I'm showing you my heat gun is a mess. I need a new one. I've had this since I started my channel, which is 3 or 4 years ago. So I need a new one. Alright, so now I am using some rub and buff to accentuate the gold or some of the gold areas on my napkin, so it doesn't look that flat. And I also used a little of the rub and buff to distress the edge. So here I am just showing you the gold on there. I'm not sure if you can see it though, but it's there. And then I replace the back. I was going to leave it like this, but then I looked at it and it didn't look complete. So here I'm going to do the same process, the decoupaging. I got another napkin, but before I did that, I'm using some glue stick to apply a piece of canvas, and that is gonna act as my base coat. So rather than painting it, I use the canvas and the glue stick and then just add some heat to reactivate that. And then I got my napkin. This is a panel of one that I had used already. And I'm just applying some Mod Podge. Same process like I did for the frame. I then placed it back in there, and this is what it looks like. Now it is complete. Love it, love it, love it. So I am guest hosting in this Anything Autumn collaboration that is hosted by Donna from the Creole Crafter. Her co-host is Lisa with Crafting My Best Life with Lisa. Along with myself, there are 4 other guest hosts: Joyful Design, All Things Home on a Budget, Craft Along with Jay, and Live with It Decor and More by Deidre. All of our links will be in the description box below, as well as the playlist link and the host channel links. So make sure to check those out when you get done watching my video. So now we're jumping into our second inspiration. I got this from the Dollar Tree, and I'll just remove the sticker from the back here. Remember that I told you that I was using the one napkin to make 2 crafts. Now this is the second one. And remember also what was remaining from the napkin when I was done with the first one. Next, I gave it 1 coat of folk art chalk paint in Adirondack. And here is the napkin. I am carefully just separating little parts of it. Just doing it so that I know how to lay it down on my board. Because remember, we are using all of this napkin, so we have to make it work. So wherever needed to be circled or cut at an angle, I did that. And wherever needed to be layered on top of what was already there, I also did that. So here I'm just cutting it, separating it, so I have it all laid out on the board. And then now I am going to carefully Mod Podge, trying to remember where I lay down each piece, and just carefully Mod Podge those napkin pieces on. And this is what it looks like when I was all done. And as usual, to reactivate the Mod Podge and to seal, I just went in with the parchment paper and the heat press and just went all over the middle. Love it, love it, love it. So then I went over again to add that last coat of Mod Podge and dried that with the heat gun. And then to embellish this a little more, I had this piece of bamboo strip and just cut the angles 45 degrees, paint the left side and the right side with a little gold paint. Because the heart is gonna be glued on in the middle, there was no need to paint that. And then I got my stamp. I got these stamps from the Dollar Tree, and I am going to stamp. I wanted that to be gold, so I took the gold paint and rubbed that over the stamp, and then just press that down on our little heart shape. And the message on here says, love makes a house a home. And then I just used the same brush and went around the edge of our little heart to distress that. I took some wood glue to glue the heart in the center of my little bamboo strip. I also took 2 half beads because I want to raise this off the surface a little bit, and I glued those at either end of our bamboo strip, and then I'm going to glue that in the center of our board. But before I glued it down, I remembered that I needed to add the hanger. And this gold hanger thing with the ends on it, I don't remember where I got it from. But you guys know that as crafters, we don't throw anything out. And this came in so handy. Look at how perfectly it fits with this piece. And after I glued that down, I just flipped it back over, and then I can now glue in my middle piece. I needed to add another half bead at the top of the heart just to stabilize that. So I took the rubbing buff and I'll add a little on my finger, and I'm just going over the surface of our raised beads here. And that just raised the bar for this one. I love it. Let me know what you think about this piece, friends. That just took it to another level. Love it. Then to finish up everything now, I'm just adding the Mod Podge. Alright, so these next two are going to be so quick and easy. If you blink, you're gonna miss it, so don't blink. So here are my paints that I'll be painting this one with, or using on this one. I'm gonna paint the base with some nutmeg brown, and our little mushrooms are going to get those colors, or multi-surface orange, and I believe that one is almond, and then the other one is green. So I painted my mushrooms. This is the napkin that I'll be using for this one, and like I did previously, I just used 2 pieces of tape to separate the panels, and I painted the metal happy with a coat of the Adirondack, and now we're ready to decoupage our napkin. I'm going to be using the burning technique. So I dried it first with the heat gun, cut off some of the excess, and then I'm going to just light that with the lighter. And to me, you also want to make sure that you have that in case of an emergency. So I just lit one end and just allow it to run freely all the way over to the other side. Now wherever there is Mod Podge, you have the fire will run freely. If there's no Mod Podge in a section, then it's gonna go out. So make sure that you add enough Mod Podge to your surface and put your napkin down, and then once you lit one end, then it's gonna run freely. So here I have all my paper burned off. I went in the middle, burned those off, and then I use the emery board to just file off the excess. Now one little section burnt off a little bit, so I had to touch that up. Now I'm adding the second layer of the Mod Podge, and added that and dried it with the heat gun. Now if you want to seal it a little more, you can add your parchment paper and then just use your heat gun on top of that. So now I took my mushrooms that have been painted and dried, and I'm using the paint pen to just give this one some little black spots. And the green one I gave white spots. And what did I do with the other? I think I left that one without any spots. So now I'm gluing them down to the right side of our sign. And after I glued them down, I added some moss to just fill in those areas. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around. If you are new, I hope you consider subscribing. If you enjoy the content and would like to see more, consider subscribing and hit that notification bell. I did take it outside and sprayed it with some Mod Podge spray, and that completes that one. Alright guys, so this is our last one, and by now I'm sure you would understand the decoupage process. So I'm not gonna do a lot of talking for this one. I'll just let you watch, but I'll come back at the end when I'm ready to add the piece at the back. So this is done, but I need for it to be a shelf sitter. So I took a clothespin, painted it white. I left the springy part on one piece, and that's the piece that's gonna be glued on flat to the back of the canvas. And you want to make sure that you have that laying flat right close to the edge of the canvas. And then the other one, you're gonna glue that on top. You wanna have this spring open, and then you glue that top piece on top of it, and that will aid it to stand. Now here is our scripture for today. Deuteronomy 30 verse 9, the New Living Translation. The Lord your God will then make you successful in everything you do. He will give you many children and numerous livestock, and he will cause your fields to produce abundant harvest. For the Lord will again delight in being good to you as he was to your ancestors. Amen. That is a Selah moment right there. Alright guys, here is the final reveal, and you'll have one last look of everything that I made today. Don't forget to check out the host channels as well as the guest host channels and the playlist. I'm sure you will find lots of inspiration for fall. This is my final fall video. I'm working on Christmas. I will have a mega video for you this week, so be sure to look out for that. So keep watching, my friends, and enjoy the rest of the final reveal. And there you have it, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoyed crafting with you today. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more creative projects like these. And tap that notification bell as well so you never miss an upload. Need more inspiration? Click right here for other fun DIYs. Happy crafting, stay safe, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!